What's going on, Illumineers? Welcome back to episode 11 of the Freedom Gaming Podcast. We almost have a full squad today, just missing Mike Sr., as he currently finds himself in Orlando, I believe it is, doing big stuff for work. So shout outs to him, making moves over there. We do have.
Camping out till Worlds.
Exactly, yeah. Which is a date that we don't know, so he might be there for like 7, 8 months, just hanging out, just waiting, we'll work for Worlds. uh, Per usual, I am John. Hope you guys all have a great day or night, depending on when you are watching or listening. Like I said, we got a 4 pack here. So to my left, we got Joey. Joey, how we doing tonight?
Doing great. Glad to be here.
Yep, glad to have you back. Underneath me, we got Brian. Brian, how you doing today?
Fantastic, man. So many events over the weekend, so much news to cover, and super excited going forward.
Oh yeah, definitely. A lot of fun stuff to talk about today. Action-packed episode. And last and certainly not least, we got Mike. To the bottom left right there. Mike, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing really well. Just been testing a lot. Got a big tournament this weekend. Probably the biggest tournament I've played in quite a while. So it's pretty exciting just to be able to test and get ready for a big event again. So
Yep. I guess we can touch on that real quick. Yeah, to those of you that most of you know, but to those of you that don't, we have the CCS. Is it an 8K or is it a 10K this weekend? It's a 10K, right?
8K.
8K.
8K is
Yep. 8K. 8K in Atlanta, Georgia. CCS has put on a bunch of events, bunch of bigger events. Good. I haven't been yet. I think this is gonna be the first Freedom Gaming appearance at any of them. So
Yeah.
Mike will be there with a couple of the other South Florida faithful, and I think Brian might make an appearance as well. So if you see any of them there, give them a shout out. Tell them
for sure. Yeah, if you did, don't hesitate to come talk to us for sure.
Yep, we're not.
Hopefully, if we're rude, it's probably because it just deck bricked on me or something right after that. But outside of that, just love to talk to people.
Yep, definitely. So if you're there, definitely say hi to any of them. Tell them how much you like the pod and how much you miss me not being there. um, so in terms of some news before we touch on the Continentals, we did find out the names of Set 7 and Set 8. So Set 7 is going to be Arcasia's Island, comes out in March of 2025, which has that super cool bolt picture. So I don't think I've seen that movie.
I have not seen.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think I've seen that one. So.
I have.
Is it good?
John, I feel like you've seen no Disney movies.
Oh, I've seen a lot of Disney movies. I haven't seen a lot of the new Disney movies.
You just don't realize how many Disney movies there are until you start going through.
You go down that
them.
rabbit. Yeah, you start
you're
scrolling
like,
through Disney
When
Plus,
did
and
this
you're like,
come out?
Until you start watching them with your baby, it's like,
Yeah, you're like,
yep, that is true. So it's Bolt. Looks pretty cool. I know there's been some speculation about maybe dual colored cards, but I don't think that's happening just yet. And if it does, then we're power creeping really early. And then Set 8 was also revealed, which is Quarter 2. So should be probably that'll be over the summer. Will be Reign of Jafar. So it looks like the new big bad is Jafar. So shouts to Mike. Mike could do his victory lap on that one, as he was the one who correctly predicted that Jafar was going to be the big bad. So that one I'm kind of excited for that one.
Get your purple Jafars now.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. Get ready to start drawing cards and winning games.
To note though, since Set 7 doesn't come out till March, it isn't obviously not going to be legal for the NA Continentals, and then depending now with the Worlds date up in the air, who knows, right? That would be super interesting if for Worlds Set 7 was legal.
I'm pretty sure it will be.
Yep.
yeah, makes sense.
Definitely would be like a cool change in the meta. I'm sure a bunch of spice would be coming out, because I think when it comes out, if they're planning for April, let's say, which I think might be the way that they're leaning towards, as Atlanta was the first DLC, which was Atlanta, wasn't until May. So if they plan on following the same cycle, that same schedule, then I would expect Worlds to be late March or sometime in April. But it would definitely be a cool way to showcase any of the new Set 7 stuff, new decks.
I think if you take hints from other card games and their worlds, like you look at Magic, they debut a new set right before their worlds. Pokemon just recently did that as well. I think they had like less than a month, and it wasn't legal in anything else.
Yep.
So I think it would be fine if they did that.
Yep.
Because the best players are attending this event. The best players are the ones that are going to figure out the new cards the fastest.
Yep, definitely. So the timing should be cool. So Other official capacity news would be that the Melbourne they announced DLC Melbourne, which is in February. And they haven't announced any like Worlds qualifications or any other continental dates. So who knows? Who knows what happens with that? Like if you could go and
Yeah.
go to Australia and maybe win and find your way into Worlds. But that does piggyback onto what Brian was saying with the news. So apparently the date for Worlds is not set yet. So it isn't that March date that everyone had thought it was. That was kind of a what was it? I think like a news or one of the they
Yeah,
call them.
somebody
It was
wrote it in an article,
Yep.
and then, but however, we got confirmation, and there's a screenshot of a RB employee stating that
Mhm.
Worlds has not officially been announced. A date for Worlds has not officially been announced. So, super curious to see how that goes. And we were talking about it earlier, but we only have 26 people qualified for Worlds, which I don't think for any TCGs, right? 32, 16, you have your magic numbers.
Yep.
So where are they going to pull? I wouldn't be surprised if DLC Melbourne did allow for the winner to get that automatic invite.
Mhm.
Or maybe they'll allow for a few because at that point NA Continentals is over. It would only be
Well,
you know,
it is on a different continent, so continentals
no.
of NA, European. So maybe there could be another like a South Pacific
That'd be really tight
DLC.
scheduling though, man.
That would be
so half baked. If that's the case, like
Yeah,
that's
that'd
so
be
half baked.
wild. Could you
but
imagine this like yep last seconds
my
go like
hypothesis
Melbourne.
yeah, my hypothesis is, and what I'm hoping for to like really raise the spice level is that Worlds has a LCQ. That would be
That's gonna be a
crazy.
It'd be a
Don't talk
sweaty.
about a sweat fest. Yeah,
Mhm.
that would be awesome.
We're
I
only
actually
gonna.
don't think it'd be that sweaty.
No.
I think you would get a lot of casuals into Worlds, a lot more than you would in Continentals, just
Yeah,
because.
especially from Central Florida, all the casuals
Yeah.
up there.
Oof, geez,
Oh,
Joey firing shots.
You wanna go ahead and start name dropping?
Oh no, I'm good. They
Joey
might be there on the 28th at SSG.
Oh boy, yeah, yeah, they're gonna be like, hey Joey, we heard your quote.
Yeah, waiting for you out in the parking lot.
Yeah, how many 1K, 2Ks have you topped in?
Oof.
Oh.
Oh, jeez.
That blurry picture in the background I see in yours.
Oh my gosh. Well then, wow. Okay, wow. We came in hot
One thing,
tonight.
one thing I want to say about the set 7 that R&B I think mentioned that with the pet with Bolt, they mentioned something about pets, and he had an idea that I think is a really cool idea, and they may introduce it in set 7 is like equipment for Magic to where these pets would be companions that could give you different attributes.
Oh yeah.
I could totally see that happening. I do not think it's going to be dual colors. I know like that's I've heard a common guess. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're probably a ways off from that. Then I bet set 8. They didn't really introduce anything crazy in Ursula's return. I don't think there was a crazy mechanic in that.
No, just Ursula.
Just cards, yeah.
cards, yeah.
But I mean, like as far as like actual mechanics, they didn't really change anything. I bet they'll have another PVE thing.
Yep.
You know, like the Ursula's thing. Forgot what it's called.
Lumineer's Quest.
Yeah, Lumineer's Quest. Yeah, they'll do another one for Jafar, I bet, which that'll be cool too.
I wonder
it's
if they'll
exciting.
come. I wonder if they'll introduce like another locations matters set, kind of like how Inklands was the location reveal. I wonder if they'll do like another one that's like more driven towards locations.
I think it's all going to be supplemental at this point. Like the only thing you're going to have focus on is when that first becomes part of the pool of cards. Like if you had companions, like okay, now you have to create space for all of these different things.
Yeah.
Well, like we haven't seen a legendary location, and I wonder if that'll come.
Maybe. Yeah. Good.
Maybe.
Very well.
But,
maybe that's Arcasia's Island. Maybe that's gonna be the
That's
legendary
what I'm
one.
thinking. Yeah, the owl.
They could copy paste straight from Magic. Remember when they were doing like the companions? So you had
Yeah,
deck,
that's
but
what became.
there were specific things that the deck had to be formatted to, like only whatever up to 3 drops or
Only
something
odd
like
color
that.
or odd numbered
Yeah,
mana
or
cost,
certain
stuff like
colors.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Could be. Yeah.
Singleton.
Yeah, that'd be wild actually if they did stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so definitely be on the lookout for the new for Arcasia's Island coming in March. I'm sure once we get spoilers, we will definitely be diving into those for sure. So that's pretty much all we got for the news section. As we just head more into the EU Continentals, which is probably been beaten to death at this point. But you know what? It's okay because it's a huge event that we get to talk about, and I like
Yep.
that. So for those of you that were all probably tuning in, like we all were, in the very early hours of the morning in North America,
Yeah.
we had the EU Continentals, which was they said 96 Illumineers, but there truthfully was one person that didn't show up. So shout out to that one person who qualified and didn't go. Uh,
I
but
didn't know that.
yeah,
Yeah.
there was 95 people that were there,
Awesome.
and yeah, because there was one bye. So there were 96 entrants, but 95 actually showed up. So the meta was pretty much how we all thought it was going to be. With the big at least for day one was the main deck was Ruby Sapphire, which was 32 or 34% of players. Amethyst Emerald. Obviously, those are the two most popular decks for the most part in Europe, just from all the DLCs. The Europeans seem to prefer the pairing Amethyst with Emerald as opposed to Emerald Steel. Not to be outdone too much though, as Emerald Steel was third with 18%, then Amber Steel at 13%, Ruby Amethyst at 7%, Sapphire Steel at 5%, Amethyst Steel at 4%, and then a lonely Ruby Steel at 1%, a single person decided to sleeve up. Ruby Steel went, you know what? Let's go. Pirates. I truthfully want to know that list. But guys, any surprises from the day one metagame, or pretty much what we thought it was going to be?
Surprises there was no Blurple that made it.
I
I
think
mean,
the
at least
coolest.
signed it up.
Yeah, right. I think the coolest deck had to have been the one that topped Swiss, the red blue deck that was on Flynn, Manor, and there was one other card that was shocking. But yeah, it was not a traditional red blue deck, and
Mm-hmm.
it took everyone by storm. I don't think it performed too great on day two, but definitely top Swiss, which
Open
is
deck
pretty
list.
impressive.
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Open deck. Yeah. That's something that definitely struggles with the open deck list. I know. I know we talked about it, or we talked about it off air, but I guess we'll bring it to you guys now. Is the we that just from LCQ onward, all the combinations haven't really been public. It's kind of been like hearsay, honestly, more than anything else. But the overwhelming majority of people said that Amber Steel was very prevalent in LCQ, which makes sense. Amber Steel being a very strong best of three deck, so
Hmm.
a lot of people. I think mainly it was the French that they all decided they saw that and then they all sleeved up Ruby Sapphire. So might have inflated the Ruby Sapphire to combat the Amber Steel a little bit, and Amber Steel did
Mhm.
very poorly. Like not a lot of,
Hmm.
I think only one made it into the top 16 in day two. So any thoughts on that? We haven't heard too much from you, Brian.
Uh, uh, Again, those hearsay, rumors,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, definitely a lot of that was spoken about in the 20 lore red blue
Mm-hmm.
deck discussion.
Yep.
And it was like people were swearing up and down that essentially they waited to see what did well during the LCQ and decided to like sleeve up and kind of game the field a bit. And obviously, whether it happened or not, it worked out because Steel Song got kind of decimated on the
Mm-hmm.
following day. There was a massive showing. We did know going into it that you highly favored Red Blue, so
Mm-hmm.
maybe they planned on taking that all along. I do know that there were like a lot of teams to include
Hmm.
um, the Amethyst Emerald decks, like
Mm-hmm.
people running the same lists
Yep.
top to bottom. So as far as I'm aware, the Ruby Sapphire decks from the French teams apparently all were kind of hand in hand, and everybody opted to use the same deck. There wasn't much variation, and whether or not they took into account on what did well on the LCQ. The other thing I guess would need to be clarified was if, and I'm assuming it's true, is whatever you played in the LCQ is what you were locked into for
No, you weren't.
day
Yeah.
one.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
They could have
Oh, so you
swapped.
could
So.
have, so you can
Yeah.
make it through LCQ and then swap.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Absolutely. That's what I'm
That'd
probably
be.
gonna do if I make it. I'm probably swapping.
So.
Mm.
Yeah. So it was definitely interesting to see how I think we all kind of we all talked about it last week too how we all we all knew that Ruby Sapphire was going to be very prevalent. Obviously, it's one of the better decks,
Mhm.
and with just how much the EU meta is a lot more controlly, that we thought that that would be the most played deck, and it truly was. It was, 32, so 34% of it,
Mhm.
32 people played it, and it made sense. But then going into the day two metagame, so the top 16 was we saw 5 Emerald Amethyst, 3 Ruby Sapphire, 3 Ruby Amethyst, 2 Emerald Steel, 2 Amethyst Steel, and 1 Amber Steel. So the big thing for me, honestly, was that obviously Emerald Amethyst having such a great conversion rate at 25%, and then Ruby Amethyst having a 50% conversion rate, and then three of those four made it into top four, which is wild. And then everything else kind of fell into place. Obviously, like the conversion rate for Ruby Sapphire is going to look a little bit worse at 9%, but again, 32 people played it and still 3 found their way in, despite a heavy field of Emerald Amethyst and then even a good bit of Emerald Steel as well, which are, I mean, if not favorable, like a definitely an even matchup as well. 2 of the 3 Amethyst Steels cut, which is a 66% conversion rate, so technically the best one. And then the Lonely Amber Steel was a tough one there at just 8%. So one of the 12 made it. So shout outs to them. I know
Mhm.
that was definitely not the best meta, so they definitely had to work for it. No really
And you
surprise.
said so. You said 50% conversion rate for red purple,
Yep,
and I think there was only 6
yep,
red purple
yep.
signed up.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So that means that conversion rate, those 3 that made it to day 2 made top.
Yeah,
Yep.
which is wild.
That's insane.
And
I
actually, the
think.
Amethyst Steel one is another one that 2 of the 3 cut, and then 2 of the 3 ended up in top 8.
And then
So,
two of the three red blues as well topped.
yeah, but again, like that conversion rate's not good though, because like they're at a 9% conversion rate because only three of the 32 made it.
Oh, fair, fair, fair.
So, and then obviously and then there was Emerald Amethyst, the GPs, five of
Hmm.
the 20, so 20, like pretty solid rate. And
Sure.
then one got into I think there was 2 in top 8, I think, or 3.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think it was 2,
And
yeah.
I
I
think that
believe it
also
was
goes.
one in top
Oh,
eight,
okay, so the one
and
the one that got
Mhm.
all the way to the finals was the only one
Yeah.
that advanced. Okay, that's interesting.
I think that goes to show you the difference between a 2 game format of a deck versus the 3 game formats of the deck. Like you're looking at the LCQs, you go from Amber Steel dominating in a 3 game format to not doing as well in a 2 game format. Ruby Sapphire conversion on a three game versus 2 game.
Hmm.
Like I think it's interesting to see some of the conversions, the decks that we see in the top 8, top 4 finals
Hmm.
doing well in the best of 3, but we're only able to squeak through to get to day 2 on the best of 2 format.
Yep.
So it's definitely such a weird thing that I hope that they kind of make it clear if Worlds is going to be best of 2, best of 3. Like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
This is still season 0, so like we're testing. It is what it is,
Hmm.
but
Yeah, if I had
I'm
to
not a big
guess, I
fan
would
of it.
assume Worlds is they're gonna just roll with best of 2 at this point. We wouldn't get any changes until the next season starts.
Correct.
Um, but
I mean, I think a lot of, and I know John's going to get into like the winner and stuff. I don't want to take anything away from the winner or anything
mhm,
like that because I
Mhm.
know we'll get into it. But I mean, listening to people like Artifacts who had to play in this too, his explanation of it I think was the best because he's like, look, I never did well in these things, so I didn't want it to come from a place of like, oh, he's just saying that because he didn't do well. Everybody knows Artifact's an amazing player. Like
mhm,
anyone that's heard of his name knows he's a great player. Um, and he just could never get it done in a DLC. So he had to go through the LCQ, and guess what? He smacked some people because it's best of 3.
mhm,
It highlights player skill. Um, and then you go to the Continentals, and now you got to do 2 round format again.
mhm,
And he's like, all right, now that I've kind of shown that I can do some of this stuff, he explained it. He's like, this is just not good. It doesn't feel
Mhm.
good for any of the players. Like you'd rather have a game like give yourself a chance to
mhm,
win a set than just to end. Like you don't have a winner. Like
mhm,
in a world where you want a continental champion, you're playing in a tournament that has for more than half of the tournament doesn't have a winner in the games.
yep,
And the fact that there was after 3 rounds no
nope,
two O's or no
no
undefeateds.
3-0s, yeah,
Mhm.
No 3 O's. Yeah, I can't say undefeateds because there was no 3 O's is I mean, one thing it shows that how high of a level that players are playing at.
Mm-hmm.
And people will say, oh, that just explains that the play draw that bad. So it's just going to be something else if it goes to best of 3. I don't think that's the case because at least one game I saw on stream, and I think it was Amber Steel versus Ruby Sapphire, and both of them won on the draw.
On the draw, yep.
Yeah, so your deck can just crap out on you sometimes, and it happens. But having that a little bit of leeway to outplay on one of the other games is nice. Like you're just not out of it in that 2-game. So I'm hoping they listen. I mean, look, Ravensburger's been to people. I think they've been pretty quick to adjust some things so far. I hope that this doesn't fall on deaf ears and they make a change for the future. I don't think it's going to change until after Worlds, like John said. I think it's going to have to be next season, but I don't know. Especially at Continentals, you just can't. If they kept 2-round formats for DLCs, I'd kind of get it because you want that casual experience for people, not having to worry about time, stuff like that. But for best of the best, they need to play it best of 3.
Yep, especially in like a smaller tournament too. That like everyone, like the vast majority of the players are like very high caliber players. Like you saw like the likes of like DKP and Moyen played round 1 and they drew. It was a mirror match, but they drew, and just like there were just draws everywhere. And it's just unfortunate just to see that. Like Mike was saying, it's very unfulfilling. It's like you go into a match and like you win game 1, they win game 2. You're like, well, good luck in your later rounds. Like even like on my stream match in Toronto, like I won on the play, I lost on the draw, and I was like, well, I guess I'm 4-0-1. It's just like what do you do? Like what do you even really say to that? And you're just so obviously best of 3 is the preferred way to play. I didn't mind best of 2 at first. I thought it was really interesting. But then just after playing it more, you just kind of just realize you just kind of just meh. It's very meh feeling at the end of the day about how it just doesn't reward anything. Like it rewards almost like playing safer. So you want to play. You don't see like you can do well with like a really weird deck, but it just rewards people that just can just go and just like, all right, I'll play if I see my 2 good matchups, I'll 2-0 them, and then I can just draw the rest of the way out. So. But just switching over to the winners list, shout out to Domingo Martinez, which I didn't even know this, but apparently he grinded in. So that's pretty crazy to
really.
Yep, to go 5-0.
Big time.
Yep. So that's huge to grind in and then be the last one standing. This is what I was talking about. How like people who like you want to, as someone who's going to the LCU, you want to have that mentality that like I plan on winning this tournament on Sunday, and he did.
To explain the grinding in part. So for EU, you're able to sign up for 2 slots for AM and PM within the LCQ chances. So you had 2 chances at it. I think that's very fair. I know some people were saying that's not fair. They had a lot less DLCs to qualify for. So I mean, I honestly don't think it's a big deal. But you could sign up for both, and he lost his AM pod in LCQ, and then ended up and
round
I know
one.
he lost round 1, but so he
round
lost
1.
And then won the PM pod that he had, and then obviously won the whole thing after. So, I mean, think of how much grind, like, that is a lot of gameplay, dude. There's a lot of games
for sure.
Play at high levels, too.
And to note, he almost had the auto invite in Paris.
A top 32.
He got 19th.
Oh my god! In Lille? In Lille?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he came super close, and then all the other DLCs he attended, it wasn't even like close to day 2. So he almost got it right at the start, and then he was able to grind in, which is
pretty cool.
Nuts. And went all the way.
Yeah, there was
never give up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, never give up. There was a lot of discourse about that. How I saw a lot of people on Twitter like, "Oh, that's not fair that they were able to do both." And I thought it was kind of fair. I was like, you know what? If you believe in yourself that much,
if I guarantee you, if they told everybody on the NA side like, oh, you have 2 opportunities to do it, everybody would be like, oh, I'm signing up twice. Why not?
Yeah.
There's no reason that you couldn't have signed up for the EU one either.
Yeah,
right?
If you really wanted to, you could have gone to EU.
We were talking about it. Me and Brian were talking about it. Like we almost did it.
Zan's already also qualified for NA, and he flew out.
So some of those people, Zan,
Dale,
Wonderland.
Dale.
I don't know if Zan necessarily. I don't know when he flew in or his
He
exact date,
didn't
but I know
know.
some people flew in not knowing that they had the automatic invite to Worlds,
Yep.
and then once they were already there, paid for their flight, paid for the travel, paid for their stay,
Crazy.
and had signed up. Then they get. Don't get me wrong. Like that sigh of relief must have been like, no, that's awesome. Like the pressure is off, but. Super interesting, and shoot, man, I know it's not the case for NA, but I would have been cool with that too. Two opportunities to grind in, but
yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Grinder's
we'll see what happens.
Grinder's not fun, but if you survive it, it's gonna be real good. It's gonna feel real good at the end of the day. I'll tell you that much.
And you got to think, like we were just saying, like, oh, never give up. But that mental state, like, hey, I showed up and you lose round one, like, I'd be pretty devastated. Don't get me wrong, like, getting to, that very last match, too, if you got to round 5 and then losing. But at least, like, hey, I showed up, I performed and did well. But to get there, lose round 1, and then grind all the way through your second pod. Impressive.
I mean, not only that, like the pricing was pretty good. Like, you got a playset of everything, all the enchanteds. Like, the EV was crazy. Those promos, there's only going to be 8 of them, of like the certain types, and so like they're very low counts of promos. Like they'll be worth quite a bit of money.
Yeah, it was the Elsa's Ice Palace,
the Baymax,
the Cusco.
The got the Baymax.
The Mat.
The Mat was.
So like, yeah, you think about like all the Elsas that are around there, all the Let It Goes that are out there. Like, there's only a handful of these foil enchanteds of these cards.
Yep, that is true. So just taking a look at Domingo's list, it's pretty solid.
It's
solid.
The same exact list. The only addition was the genies.
Pretty much. You have
bells,
two bells. You have two
Elsa.
bells. Yep.
Yeah.
You have 2 bells.
Well, I meant for additions from set 6.
Yeah. So exactly. The only set 6 cards are going to be your genie, the genie wish fulfilled. And it seemed like if you ever hit genie, you probably were winning that game because genie is kind of an insane card. And obviously, like the bells were a really good addition. I know a lot of the Amethyst decks are playing it now. 1 Sisu empowered sibling, so the big cost, and then a 2/2 split for the red ladies between Tremaine and Medusa. Yep, I agree. I think it's.
I love the. I feel like I get a lot of. A lot of people ask me about their red purple decks, and they'll send it to me, and I'm like, why are you only on 1 Tremaine? Either 0 or 2. You have to play to have the stack. Because you can shift it, then bounce, get both back into your hand,
or bouncing them.
Yeah, I just feel like it's that play alone. That line is worth playing the 2.
Yep.
I know it's so tight. Like red purple is a very tight deck to build. So I get it. It's hard to kind of find the space for it. Some people are playing like V's and stuff now too. But yeah, I love the split between the 2 ladies.
Yep.
I think a good thing you just said there, like how the decks are really tight. I think what like takes these decks to the next level is kind of like what I saw what you did last night playing your Blurple deck, and we're testing out removing a core item like Friends on the other side. I think finding these certain cards that are like staples in a deck and flexing them out, because obviously they had to make room for 4 genies. So like the tight deck has to make room. And I think thinking outside of the box, like where red-blue is pivoted away from Fishbone Quill, some have pivoted away from Dimes. I think like that's like the real growth evolution that you see from these like top-tier players that pick apart these lists that are like locked in and take them and evolve them in a way that people think they're crazy and go and win the events. And I think that's like such cool, because like you can net deck a deck all day, but making the conscious decision to remove those items and play, or like those cards, and then play it, like just I think it's so impressive to see like different deck lists like this that are so core generated but so slightly different. it speaks to their expression of deck building and stuff like that, and I think it's so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
it's I will say for any of you Blurple players out there, don't take friends out. It's not good. I did it. I did it for you. I did it for you against a lot of people that told me not to. But I'm one of those where I really have to like play with it to
Mhm.
really make my determination. So yeah, I got blasted last night in locals. So don't just it's not worth it.
You
Not.
still beat me.
But yeah, it's the idea came from green purple cutting it.
Mhm.
Saw a couple of decks, but it's just you need the ink too much in Blurple. You have to draw enough cards to be able to ink to get to your late game to get to your
Mhm.
Elsa stuff like
Mhm.
that. So it yeah, just don't do it.
Yeah.
What'd
So,
you guys think of the best of 5?
Incredible.
It's
it went how we kind of thought it was gonna go. I felt.
I think that is the way that you do the ending of the tournaments, though. I don't know if you do it top 4 or top 2, like, but I think that's the better way to showcase like a juggernaut match.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean.
I for one like the purple mirrors.
They're intricate.
I'm glad it was like a matchup like that. Because God, if it was like red blue versus steel song best of 5, like that would have been brutal.
We would have watched.
Feel
We would have watched.
bad.
We would have watched Ruby Sapphire just run it over 3 times.
Do you
Yeah.
have the wrath? No, I
Nope.
win. Do you have the wrath? Yes, I win.
So it was. Yeah, it was interesting to watch for sure. The Domingo played very well for sure, and he
Both
definitely.
players.
Yeah, both
No,
players played really well.
Web played super well
Yeah,
too,
they
man.
both did really
Mhm.
well.
Yep.
There was that one line that unfortunately didn't pay off for him, where he had the genie out and he was at 17 lore, and he had the fox in hand, and he ended up opting to just leave the genie on the board and not quest.
Yep.
And I think that kind of probably cost him the game. I know he spoke about it in the 20 lore Discord as well.
Mhm.
Again, we'll never at this point no takesy backsies,
No
but
That's
takesy
what we talked about
backsies.
last week. The small margins of victory in these tournaments. Like
Mhm.
it's very small percentage points that go both ways, and especially in a purple mirror.
Yep.
Like
yeah.
everything is so tight.
Yep. So good segue there. Going to Mikkel's deck, playing tried and true Emerald or Amethyst Emerald. Like Mike was talking about, he completely cut friends. So 60 characters. Pretty standard one bonsai. Is interesting to me as well. I know a couple of people going a little higher. One Shadow Finder, so pretty solid for that pesky Diablo. One Bell Accomplished Mystic, and then one Ursula Sea Witch Queen, which I know is a big favorite of Brian. I think this list just looks good. I mean, at the end of the day, like I think that aggro, we talked about it. I think this deck probably is arguably the best deck in the format, depending on who you ask. At least this color pairing at the moment. Um,
Mhm.
and then Europe definitely favors this pairing with Emerald as opposed to Emerald Seal, which we see in NA. But it's a great list. You have the 3 white roses, and then the 4 goats. So you have that little extra reach. And playing 4 go is absolutely insane too, because you can definitely set up some plays with you do like doing like go or like running something into like running like a fox or a snake into something, and then just getting like 3-4 lore out of nowhere for 4 ink, and then bouncing it back to your hand with another one. So definitely some super cool plays you could see. Brian, as our GP expert, what do you think of the list?
I like it. I'm still big on the Ursula 2s, which is he's still running. I know
Yep.
there's been some ongoing discussion about cutting those entirely. Uh, Ursula 2-drop Ursula has saved me I don't know how many countless times, preventing that wrath in the board wipe and having to reset entirely after you've built out your board. I do love the Go-Go's. There's a lot of bigger body characters now between Elsa's, especially in the mirror. We were talking about earlier. I was playing the green purple mirror, and they were playing the Ursula, the 7-drop, and I put 6 damage on there and Go-Go'd for 6 and won the game with it. So I will say too, like just between the two players, how well they played around each other's win cons.
Yep.
Awesome, man. Like people like making sure to avoid, hey, I know that if he has Go-Go in hand, this could be game, and being able to do that dance and kind of stave, you know, because
The
both of them are
inevitable.
pretty close there. Yeah,
Yeah.
in terms of lore. But going to, I'm too fond of friends to give it up. The extra for 3.
Hmm.
But yeah, beyond that, no locations. I think pretty much everybody's moved away from
Yep.
locations with
Yeah.
uh,
Turn
the
sideways.
amethyst heavy meta. Everybody's running 3 or 4 copies of Crab, Merlin Crab,
Hmm.
and with the Foxes, most of your locations are getting one shot the moment that they get played.
Yep.
So um, maybe there's room for libraries still somewhere, but I think right now it's just too fast. You're trying to
Hmm.
keep the pace moving and get to 20 before everybody else does.
Yep. A lot of one drops too. You have 4 Chernbox followers, 4 Curse Merfolk, 4 Diablo, Obedient Raven, and then 3 Magic Broom. So, yeah, yeah, was
I
it
I
think
think
50?
I
that's
think the one bonsai is kind of that kind of is weird to me. I feel like bonsai is so good, and that's
Yeah,
like I
Mhm.
guess
I
you're kind of hedging for steel
yeah,
song
a
probably.
little bit,
yes,
yeah.
Yeah.
yes.
I just that
That is
one
why
that one.
Artabax was not playing Bonsai, and again, post LCQ and Continentals, he
Mhm.
did state that those 2 or 3 would be the correct number.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's good in the mirror. I mean, Kit can't hit it,
Mhm.
so
Yeah,
yeah.
I
So
think I think something that was interesting you said, John, at the beginning was no Diablos, and I thought that was interesting across the whole Continentals. I
mhm.
don't know if it's just an EU thing versus NA thing, but Diablo is such a hot topic at the end of the last set, and then there was nothing. I don't even think a single deck list on day 2 had a Diablo in it.
Two of them did.
Yeah, there's two
Two of
green
them did.
seals.
Okay,
Two green
Yeah,
seals. Yeah.
yeah.
but it's
They're
just
two.
like every
there.
deck was trying to put it in it, and now it's just like
It's
only green
just
seals only playing.
again, arguably Genie is the best card in set 6.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Amethyst is super popular right now, probably the best color at the moment. Everybody's running 4 of Genie,
Elsa.
and Elsa, and short
Hmm.
of you throwing that Diablo into location,
Hmm.
if the Genie blows you out and they're positive now on
I
board,
I
and
think
you
it's
still have your 2 quester, it uh,
yeah,
Diablo is kind of, and with
irrelevant.
yeah, I wouldn't say irrelevant. Diablo is always going to be good, man. But you
Hmm.
have to hit your combo, right? You have to hit the shift line
Hmm.
plus Cove
Hmm.
plus your song or whatever it is, your action.
Hmm.
And as we were just talking about with Crab, Fox, they can kill that Cove in one
Pretty
turn now.
quick.
Pretty
So
easily. Yep.
yeah,
I think it's a
uh,
good showing of the devs and the playtest group and the card design of Ravensburger to like there wasn't a button pushed right immediately. Like everyone was calling
yeah,
for it banned, and like the natural progression of what the game's design is kind of evened it out a little bit, which I think is pretty cool.
Yep.
Hopefully, it continues in that direction.
Yep. Definitely good
And
to
it's just
see.
one tournament.
Also true, and it's one tournament, like one small tournament at like a very high level too. So it's like more of like a
Hmm.
vacuum meta. Um,
Yeah.
but overall, though, like I mean, like you said, like people they didn't. I think Bucky was definitely a panic button that had to be pushed.
Hmm.
As much as I was not happy with it, it had to be done. But as opposed to like all the Diablo, everyone crying about it and everything, and then now it's like you really haven't heard much about that lately. So
yeah.
it's nice to hear.
Hmm.
Nice to see, so I can keep playing my cool green bird. Um, so yeah, so those are the top 2 lists. Looking back at the other lists, there weren't really anything like too wild, especially in top 8. There were 2 of the one of the purple the amethyst steals was from an LCQ. They made top 8. I don't know their name off the top. It just says Andy on Inkdex, but it's pretty standard list though. Only 2 Calhoun. This is a dock list, so 2 Calhoun, 3 dock, which I thought was really interesting. 3 Fire the Cannons obviously is pretty solid, and then 3 Queen's Castles, and a single, just one Strength of a Raging Fire. I thought that was pretty interesting. We did see the Captain Cranky head himself, Gantu as well. Mike, any other deck lists that you thought were interesting that you liked that from what you saw?
Yeah, I sent one in our chat as well. Lorcana Decklist played Emerald Amethyst as well, and he played something pretty interesting. A couple of different tech cards. And I actually heard his reasoning on it, and I thought it was really interesting of a take. But he was playing 2 Mother Knows Best and also playing Dawn
Don
Carnage.
Oh, Don
Carnage.
Carnage. Yep.
Yeah. To be able to kill genies. But the Mother Knows Best, he spoke about it being something that you kind of load your whole board up when like red blue plays a shark down because it kind of stops you from questing. You'll load your board up and then bounce and then quest with everything to like have that much of a lore gain they can't overcome with just a life or something like that. It's an interesting take for sure. And I think he said he was able to do it 1 or 2 times. The other thing I also heard from Artabax was because of the high level of play or caliber of players that were at Continentals, he said Go-Go felt like a dead card so often to him. He's like, you almost can't cut it, because it's so good when it's good. But they just play around it so much that it just sits there in your hand, and you can never really get the value you want to get off of it.
That's interesting.
I actually
it definitely is.
I felt kind of the same way too, honestly, when I was playing at PAX this weekend. Like, I never, I guess I only played 7 games because I 2-0'd 2 of them. But I never really had a chance to go ever because either, and that's playing Steel with it too. Like having the option to do it, there was always just better options. It felt so. I think it's still a fantastic card because it gives you that extra reach that you can set stuff up, just however we go about it. Whether it's running stuff into stuff that's sideways or just you're using like burn spells if you're playing Steel. I think it's a very good card regardless. But I don't know I don't know if the 4 count is correct. At least for Emerald Amethyst. No, but and even just looking at Artifact's list too a little bit, like are they playing more of a like a higher with like the Clarabelles too, and playing definitely.
He said that didn't feel great either.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah.
I kind of see that.
He said like specifically for red purple, and there wasn't a whole lot of red purple there. I don't think he played against it. He's like that's where it feels the best, and he said he just never really got a chance to. It just didn't really feel like what it used to feel like.
I think he mentioned it like fired twice, where it just like outright did its thing. But
5.
yeah, most of the time it didn't hit. But again, best of 2s. So maybe in the best of 3 with the LCQ, I don't know if he commented specifically to that, but yeah, Clarabelle, unfortunately, my favorite cow is probably not going to see the list. Yeah, Clarice.
Yeah, she's interesting. She was. I don't want to say she's a Bill, but I don't think
she's not a Bill. For sure.
I don't think she definitely was not as good as people thought coming out of set 5. Like she was arguably one of the better cards, like one of the most hyped cards for sure. Shift 5, Quest for 2, 5/6, so a big butt, and then just the fact just to draw like God knows how many cards if you play your play your hand right, and then kind of just hasn't seen it. What?
She's too telegraphed.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, because 7 drops. So
outside of the archetypes that do stuff, though, like there's stuff that makes her get value, like blue, where you're welcoming or bouncing stuff to their hand, like that you can get the value from her. It's just a certain archetype that right now is not top tier. It maybe gets a couple more pieces and she becomes the best. Yeah, the staff is again not top tier, so
not top tier. Unfortunately,
maybe that's how you beat red blue. If red blue counteracts and starts beating green purple, play staff and then
start bouncing.
Yeah,
and I just
send it all back.
Just started blasting. Looking at the one Amber Steel list real quick. Nothing too crazy. The one Doc I thought was pretty cool. Obviously this one's on 4 Lilo, playing the one drop Simba because they are on 4 Pride Protector. As that Simba is quite insane as well. Another one for arguably best card in the set. I kind of like that one as well. And this one is actually back on the shift lines too, seeing the 4/4 Robin Hood line with the wheels and everything. So
I think that deck was really good with the 1-drop Simba to activate for Lilo, the shift lines to activate Whole New World, which activates Lilo. I think that the pressure that deck provides. He was on stream, I think, for 1 or 2 matches, and he performed really well. And I think the one Doc is also again activating Lilo, like late game situation. It was a lot of synergies that kind of like went well together, and I think it's something to look out for.
Yeah, definitely. I think they just ran into it was just a very rough Amber Steel meta at the end of the day
Hmm.
with so much Ruby Sapphire, and then a lot of Emerald Amethyst just being a lot more comfortable in that matchup. I feel like it's not. We talked about it earlier about how it's just not it's not an auto win matchup like a lot of people used to think it was. Because
Hmm.
again, no one's really playing swords anymore, and
I just don't
this one
think
wasn't.
that version is good into purple decks.
No,
I don't.
not at
I
all.
haven't struggled
Sure,
against it
sure,
at
sure.
all. It picks on all the steel decks though. Like I don't think it would lose to any other steel deck.
Yep.
Hmm.
But like when my opponent goes turn one Simba, I'm rejoicing because that means I can play to my board without them singing and killing everything I want to play.
Yep.
It's gonna leave me something to be able to bounce, blah blah blah, and to accelerate my game plan. Um, Elsa stops Simba. You know, you can set up a turn where you take a fox out or a goat, and then play Elsa to tap down the Simba,
Hmm.
kill that engine. Yeah, I don't think this version is as good into the purple. They're gonna change. You know,
Hmm.
I feel like
Hmm.
this tournament's gonna change the meta a lot, in
Hmm.
my opinion. So it's
Hmm.
exciting to see where that's gonna lead us.
Yep, definitely. And then even seeing like the two Pluto guard dog from the new set, is quite good as well. The bodyguard, 5/5 bodyguarder. But again, like that one's interesting too, going against other steel decks too, because they can just ping it real quick. Like whether it's between a Tink play, like shifting Tink or something, or playing Tink, or they're just singing a any steel song really. Um, so pretty solid list. It was a great event. There was all the
Hmm.
stream matches were pretty good, pretty competitive for the most part. I
Production
enjoy.
was high.
Yeah, production side was great.
Hmm.
I like the trophy. I know some people didn't. I thought the trophy was
I
pretty
did
cool.
too.
Um,
No comment.
yeah, we found the one who didn't.
Yeah.
The
The
one who for.
casters, though, man. I don't know if it's the
Casters were so
accents.
good.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the accents or the suits or what it is, man. But like professional,
Yep.
and they kill it
Yeah.
every
Oh
single
yeah.
time.
Yep.
So the
Lacana villain's so
passion.
good.
Yeah, I think it just like it's not fake passion.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
genuine, just care for the community,
Mhm.
the game, and just
Yeah.
he's excited,
Yep.
dude. When
Yeah.
when that Jafar got released and popping off about Jafar,
Yeah.
that was awesome. It was
Yep.
really cool.
No,
That
his
was,
call to fame is the be
The be
prepared. Every
oh
prepared.
time we
yeah,
Yeah.
get it,
for sure.
it's
Every time they did it, yeah,
Yep.
it's so good.
They did it the one
Uh,
time in the finals that it was everyone. I'm not gonna lie.
It,
I was driving home from PAX, and I even sang along with driving home from PAX. So it got me hyped. Yeah, Baker is fantastic. Joe is
Yes,
fantastic.
he
Like
is.
I love both of them. Like their channels, their
Hmm.
and just their commentary style. Like it could just be just my love and my affinity for the English broadcasters, just from watching so much
Yep.
soccer growing up. That I think that they're the best to do it. I hope that they do it. They're the ones that are doing it for Worlds. Obviously, we have some great
Yeah.
casters over here in the North
yeah,
American side as well, but far and away the production of the EU events
It's
is
been good.
is
Hmm.
10 out of 10, 12 out of 10.
it reminded me of like 9, 10 years ago when um, League of Legends
Mhm.
with
Yep.
the world and stuff,
Yep.
and some
Those
of
guys go crazy.
yeah, those guys are going crazy,
Yep.
dude. But yeah, man, I enjoyed it. Great
Mhm.
production value. I hope it keeps going forward. I hope NA Continentals has some more teasers,
Mhm.
and then obviously, I'm assuming that's when they're gonna tease worlds
Worlds.
and
yeah.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
everything else, dates and whatnot. I'm really excited for them to drop the DLC list. Right? Is it going to be the same locations? Are they changing it up? I know
More or less.
South
Who knows?
Florida.
people. I know some people like were doing like, oh, where would you like to see a DLC next year? Where would you? Who knows if they took that into account, right?
Mhm.
Like Miami. Maybe there will be just a DLC Orlando.
Mhm.
Um, Obviously biased towards the East Coast because it's an easier trip for me. But um, they did a great job this year with spreading the love, kind
Mhm.
of
Yep.
between East Coast, Dallas, Chicago, and then over to the West Coast. Maybe they'll change it up instead of like starting all East. Oh no,
Mhm.
I guess I can't.
Yeah, they
Was
kind of
it
they went
Atlanta?
around. They went from Atlanta. It was
Yeah, yeah.
Atlanta,
Atlanta,
Chicago,
Chicago, and
Texas,
then
Toronto.
Toronto, Vegas,
yeah, yeah,
Seattle.
yeah,
Mhm.
So yeah,
yeah.
hopefully we get one a
And then
little more
with the
northeast.
addition of DLC Melbourne, we're starting to expand further and further, right?
Mhm.
I want DLC Japan to happen. I will be traveling to that one.
DLC
I'm gonna
Tokyo.
snag a ticket. Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I do a trip out of it. I think if Japan happens for anybody who hasn't been, highly recommend it.
Mhm.
Amazing food, great culture, lots to do.
Mhm.
Make a trip out of it. But yeah, I'm stoked. I want to see that list. Be
Yep.
like, oh, start picking out dates, start doing travel plans.
Yep.
I had a blast, man. Getting able to meet up with y'all and meet
Mhm.
up with friends and stuff. So
Yep.
that I think that was the most
Yep.
important
I'd
part
been
for
able to go
me.
to more. I wish I had only been. I wish I had been able to go to more instead of two. I really wish I could have played Bucky when Bucky was broken, because that would have been a lot of fun, for me at least.
There's always next set.
There is always next set. Who knows? Who knows what's next? Who knows what's gonna be broken? I'll still be on Emerald Steel anyway.
Will they ever print Bucky again? Of a card of Bucky again? Right? Like, is it gonna cause? Does it cause too much trauma and PTSD for
I
some
bet they
people?
will. I bet they will.
Yeah, they'll mess up. Every card game does it. They always release something that they don't
No,
even
he's
realize.
saying like another Bucky card,
Oh,
Yeah. Like,
oh,
not of the green one, like
I
just
want I
the
want
red Bucky.
Bucky giant squirrel, and it's just like this big
Floodborn huge
towering. I
ass
don't know.
squirrel.
Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be too funny. So,
Actually, he's probably going to come in this companion set. If there's companions, Bucky would probably fit right into that.
yep, definitely. Looking forward to that though. So who knows? Hopefully, spoiler season starts. I guess in March. So like that's who knows when do we get
Yeah,
spoiler
we're
season?
always this. I think this will be the longest length of time between
Yeah, I
two
guess
sets.
I'd imagine we'll probably get our first spoilers maybe in like at NA Continentals.
Mhm.
That would be like maybe something I would assume, but who knows? You truly never know. Um, Closing thoughts, Joey? Anything? Look
Um,
like you were ready to go for something.
no, my headphones died.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah,
Shout outs to the
no,
Echo.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
no closing thoughts at all, Joey.
None, none.
Joe, he went like this, and I was like, okay, Joey wants to add something. It was like, oh no, just was taking my
Nope.
headphones off.
Uh, um,
So,
for me, today's the 11th, so less than a month out from
mhm.
LCQ,
Yeah.
NA, LCQ. Super stoked to see all of us that are going.
Yep. We got
Um,
three of us there, so
and maybe four.
maybe four.
Maybe four. Yeah. But yeah, man, Christmas is around the corner. I'm sure we'll do another pod before then, though. But
Yep.
it's gonna fly by these next. Got CCS this week,
Mhm.
and then holidays, and then boom,
January.
go up,
Then we're back.
go
Yep.
up, and we're all gonna get day two.
Oh man, that'd be so great. That'd be wild. That'd be truly wild. Like we were saying, CCS obviously this weekend. So good luck to anyone going. Obviously, good luck to Mike and Brian. Hoping to see you guys in day two on stream and everything. Showing off that Blurple swag for sure. Um, for everyone here in Freedom Gaming, I am John. Hope you guys all have a great rest of your day and night. I think we'll probably do one more before Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably
for sure.
recapping CCS for you guys, and then looking ahead to the LCQ and NA Continental. So hope you guys all have a great rest of your night. Peace.
See ya.